All right, my friends. So, welcome back to Frogboy X1 Gaming. I'm Andrew, and we actually have a leaked listing for the 9070 XT and the 9070 over on Amazon. Thanks to videocards.com for showing this leak. Woke up to this today. It says XFX Radeon RX 9070 XT listed at $750. And then the 9070 is listed at $650 in leaked Amazon listing. So let's take a look at some of this, because that right there is saying that they are literally charging you the same amount of money as NVIDIA for 5070 Ti. If this is to be correct, or if this is to be right, and these are the XFX cards. The pretty much the same brand I've been buying of AMD GPUs since I started buying AMD. I haven't used anything else but XFX, and it says that right off the bat, the cheapest RX 9070 will cost $649, while the cheapest RX 9070 XT was listed at $749. Whether these are official prices, we have no way of confirming. However, it is a fact that XFX Swift series are expected to be priced at AMD's MSRP. XFX is preparing several new models. It appears that the 9070 XT models are taking priority, as Mo US has discovered 4 listings for the with only the non-XT versions. Only the non-XT version. XFX will have 2 cards under $800 and 2 models priced between $820 and $850 as well. So the 9070, it looks like the Swift is $649. The Swift XFX 9070 XT triple fan gaming is $749, with the Mercury 9070 XT at $819, and the Quicksilver. The Quicksilver is the new one that you can remove the things. That one's looking at, or maybe no. That's okay. The Mercury magnetic air condition is $849, and then the Quicksilver is $769. So those are some pretty interesting prices, to be completely honest with you guys. I didn't expect that. I mean, I guess the $750 for just the basic version of an XFX card, the Swift. Now the Swift version is what I had, I believe, with the 7600 XT was the Swift, and the build quality of that was definitely a lot more plastic than the Mercuries, or the Mercs that I've gotten for all of my other cards. So looking at that, and then knowing that like XFX usually goes on sale pretty quickly, because they are probably, I would say they probably make and distribute most of the AMD stock. XFX, usually you can find those cards anywhere. They do get a little bit more difficult to find as you start to look for other brands, but dang, man. Whew, $750. Cheapest one for 9070 XT being the Swift version of the AMD Radeon. Dang. I guess AMD is just like, look, you know what? We got a good card. We're gonna price it right at 5070 Ti, and then the AIBs are going to go up. So if the $750 is the floor price for 9070 XT, I mean, yeah, here's the thing, guys. If this thing is really coming out at 4080 to 7900 XTX power-wise, and it holds its own and does better ray tracing, obviously we'll have the ML upscaling that all the sycophants are like, oh my gosh, it is no shimmer. If it comes out and it has no shimmer and it's $749 and it has better ray tracing performance, Because right now, as I look at it, comparing my 7900 XTX to the 4070 Super that I got in games like Cyberpunk with path tracing, like it's on par with that card, man. Like the path tracing performance is literally on par with 4070 Super, and 4070 Super is technically a playable experience at 3440 by 1440p. Definitely not at 4K, but at 1440p, it's definitely a playable experience. Whether you turn it on or turn it off, I much prefer just having the 150 frames that I get with just regular ray tracing on that game as opposed to like the 80-ish frames with frame generation that I get. It is playable, but on both cards, obviously. But if you look at that, okay, if you look at that and you get significantly better performance in ray tracing to where you are at a 4080 level for ray tracing on Cyberpunk, it's just got to make sense for me. All right, let me tell you guys my thoughts on it first, so that you guys understand where I'm sitting with it. I don't think $849 for me to buy the magnetic AMD Mercury. That is pushing it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie and say that's gonna be an easy choice. $849 is a lot of money for a GPU when I already have a 7900 XTX, but I will pay it. I will pay it. And I will absolutely freaking check out these features and see if they are worth your time and your money, because $849 for a mid-range GPU. You know, these are AMD's own words. They said they wanted to take market share from the mid-range. Okay, and they have two cards to do that. They have the 9070 XT, which is going head-to-head with the 5070 Ti. They have the 9070, which is going head-to-head with the 5070. And then obviously they'll have the 9600 XT and the 9060 XT and the 9060 and the regular 9060 that are going to compete in the lower end. And if those cards come out and they are, you know, what happens if the 9060 XT comes out and that card is absolutely on par with a 5070 and costs less? Because if the 9070 XT comes out and it's pretty close in power to a 5080, you know, like 10 to 8 to 10% behind it, you know, but, you know, holding its own ray tracing wise and all of this stuff, say that card's like 8% behind that. So technically you could say that card actually competes at that 5080 level, or just in between 5070 Ti and 5080 for $849, which the other card is, you know, and this is the top end AIB for $849 versus the average price of it being like what, $749, so $100 cheaper than that. Obviously these prices are factoring in the 10% freaking tariff, obviously that extra 10% tariff, and XFX are absolutely made in China, so that there's going to force them to 100% up their price. So maybe the average price of AMD Radeon cards that are not built in China could be, you know, $649. I don't know, guys. This has got me thinking. I'm like, dang, man, $850. 800. So that makes that card like 900, almost $900 after tax for me. So that's $900 for a mid-range GPU, guys. I don't know. A lot of people are saying it's DOA. You know, if you get over on Twitter, it's DOA. And then I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, dude, I literally just saw pricing for AIBs for the 5070 Ti that are $1,149. That's almost $1,200 for a 5070 Ti, my guys. And once I saw that, I was like, and now looking at the $849 for a 9070 XT, I'm just like, oh gosh, AMD. I don't know. Let's see if it works. Whatever. you know what I mean? Like, I personally, to the point where I think PC gaming has become an absolute freaking joke. And we don't have anybody else to blame but the NVIDIA bros that hype up this upscaling garbage. I'm not saying that it's complete trash. It does what it's supposed to do. It gets the job done. It gives you the ability to stretch your card to a different resolution without having to worry about it, looking horrible. I mean, but obviously, I could play a game like Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I could run right through that game and look at the beautiful world with no shimmering, with no ugly freaking visuals or anything, and that game looks absolutely incredible and runs at over 100 plus frames a second. But then you put in some of these new games like Avowed, and it doesn't even look. I mean, let's face it, dude. The new Assassin's Creed Valhalla looks better than Avowed, and it runs better too. And so when I look at something like that, and I'm like, like what are you supposed to what are you supposed to say to something like that? That you get a game. Why is somebody calling on that? So annoying. But when you get a game like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and then you get a game like Avowed that doesn't even look as good as something that came out in like 4 years ago, almost 5 years ago now, you get a game like that doesn't even look that good, running on hardware, and it just looks incredible. And now you look at the games that are running today, and it's like these upscalers, man. It like you didn't even need an upscaler with Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but you have to use one with Avowed. And so when I'm looking at that, I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, like this is weird, man. Like we're getting to a point right now where we're regressing visual wise, we're regressing performance wise, just in our games, and then we're needing more power to run them. For what? And then ray tracing sometimes makes it look better, sometimes it doesn't, but it does definitely cost you a lot more performance for not even big enough visual gain. That I'm just like, man, I don't know about this anymore, guys. I don't know about this anymore. $849 for a 9070 XT, a mid-range GPU. I did have faith that maybe AMD would come out and price it, at a I mean, I was thinking 650. I mean, I was like, okay, 650, 699, $700. But dang, man, that's $150 more than my highest estimates. I don't know, AMD. I hope you can pull this off. I mean, I'm here. I will support it because I like AMD. I love AMD, and I think that so far my experience with AMD has been significantly better than anything I've ever gotten from NVIDIA. So I don't know, man. We'll see. But this is definitely going to be very, very hard to. This is going to be pretty hard for AMD to convince people that $850 is worth their card, and that's just because it's not because AMD products are bad. It's just because there's so much negativity out there over AMD. People literally think AMD should give these cards away for free. They do, and when I look at that, and I'm like, look, guys, my Xbox has made me happy. My PS5 has made me happy. My PS5 Pro has made me happy, and all of those are running on AMD platform. So why wouldn't AMD be able to deliver an experience better than those on the GPU, on a discrete GPU? And then I look at the experience that I get. I compare and contrast that to what I would get on a PlayStation 5 Pro or an Xbox Series X, and then amplify that onto a much stronger AMD Radeon GPU, and look at the performance and look at the experience, and it is definitely better. I've seen some of the most amazing visuals that I've ever seen in my life right there on that Radeon card. And it's blown me away multiple times. Over and over and over again, I have been blown away with just how incredible it looks. And then I go back and I play something on a PlayStation 5 Pro, and I'm blown away. I'm like, wow, dude, that is absolutely incredible. So I don't know, man. I think that AMD is definitely I think people take AMD for granted, for real. You know, they took the low prices for granted, but AMD's performance and feature set, I think the sooner people accept that AMD is on par with NVIDIA, especially at the price range. Once people understand that like Radeon's really not as far behind as people like to try to pretend it is, then you'll understand why Radeon's prices are the way Radeon's prices are. And you know, of course, you've got, you know, other content creators out there talking about how, oh man, AMD needs to do this. Well, I will take those guys seriously about what AMD needs to do when they create a GPU division, build GPUs, and successfully take market share from NVIDIA. NVIDIA is very entrenched. Their marketing is extreme. You know, I've heard people always tell me, well, man, AMD's out there just giving away their stuff to everybody and trying to push it. Really? Really? I've reached out to both NVIDIA and AMD and asked them to provide the channel with a GPU this generation. And yeah, neither one of them have sent me one. And if you guys tell me I'm an AMD fanboy, so wouldn't it be in AMD's best interest to send the fanboy a GPU? Yeah, if they were out there just giving them away and like lying to people and just trying to get them to buy one, I'm pretty sure AMD would have sent me a freaking GPU a long time ago. The moment I started covering AMD, they probably should have sent me their top end card, but they didn't do that. They don't do that. AMD, where's all the content creators out there that supposedly are creating this AMD content that are getting paid by AMD? There's none, man. There's none. Wait, you got Fabio? You got Fabio from Ancient Gameplays. He likes AMD, whatever, but he's getting free NVIDIA cards too now. So I don't know, man. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I really don't trust anybody that gets free NVIDIA GPUs. I think the closest one would probably be Vex. And that's just because Vex is probably to the point where he's like, man, I don't want to be called an NVIDIA shill. So I think that he was the only one that would really push back on him. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know, dude. Like NVIDIA, Vex got a free 5090. All of these dudes got a free 5090, bro. 5090, bros. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's, to me, that's like, it's like when you send somebody a 5090. Then, and this is clearly that is the best card you can get on the market. AMD's not going to have a card that's going to go head to head with a 5090. It's just not going to happen. So you send somebody the best card. If you have the best experience in PC gaming, why would you even play on anything else? That's the thing, dude. All these guys that get 5090s, they're not playing on any other card under a 5090 other than for testing. That's it. The only time you ever see AMD Radeon cards in content creation is if they are on a freaking on a benchmark line, man, on a graph, dude. They don't show you the visuals. They test out FSR. They're testing it on, you know, they're testing it out on an NVIDIA GPU like FSR 3.1. And then I showed you guys a video of that last night. What AMD needs to do is just do whatever they feel like is going to happen for them. If they put this out there, I mean, the prices right now of GPUs, the scalping, everything like that, they're going to sell some cards. It doesn't matter how much they price them at. $850, they're going to sell some of these 9070s. Are they going to sell as many as they want to? No, not right out. But you're going to have people like me and maybe Fabio and some other, you know, content creators that are going to put out some content. Obviously, you'll get your every one of them dudes out there telling you that they should price them cheap. All of these guys literally probably already have the Radeon 9070 and 9070 XT sitting right next to them. They probably already have them. If they've already been sitting in the warehouses, you can bet your bottom dollar that AMD's already probably shipped it to these content creators, and they're sitting on there. So I think they are being very, very disingenuous to try to tell AMD how to price their cards. Yeah, dude, I don't know. But to me, it just seems like everything's like always trying to work against AMD to get them to lower their prices, while NVIDIA just keeps jacking the price up. And so kind of, you know, maybe thankfully, hey, you know, I would like to see this is me. And I would like to see AMD's 9070 XT priced at the exact same Founders Edition price of the of the 5070 Ti for their AIBs. I would like to see 9070 XT priced at exactly the same price as 5070 Ti. And then I would like to get both of those cards this generation and test them. I would like to test them. Both at the $750 price range. That's what? $1,500 for me. That's the price of a overscalped AIB, or $1,500 freaking 5080. I can get both those cards for the same price and then test them this generation to see which one absolutely offers a better experience at gaming. That's kind of where I'm at, guys. It's kind of where I'm at, because I'll tell you what, the 4070 Super is more than sufficient for what I need for an NVIDIA GPU. More than sufficient. I have no issues with that card. I don't, it is what it is. It's the NVIDIA experience. I'm able to play games and stuff, so I'm perfectly happy with that. But AMD, I like that brand, and I do take offense to seeing how people cut AMD down. And I'm like, why are you guys doing this, man? Oh, because we want NVIDIA to be cheaper. NVIDIA is never going to lower their prices because of AMD, dude. NVIDIA has essentially a monopoly in the GPU space. And by you guys continuing to just spend your money on NVIDIA without giving AMD a try, and then just parroting the same stuff that everybody else parrots about AMD, you're never going to get to the point where NVIDIA is going to feel threatened enough to lower their prices over AMD. Either you put your money where your mouth is and buy an AMD GPU, or you just accept your fate and pay for your NVIDIA for whatever they want, and keep paying that price. That's the only two options. You either get away from the NVIDIA hamster wheel and try AMD, because I guarantee you try AMD, and you're gonna look at that experience, okay? You're gonna look at that experience, and I'm not saying that AMD is better than NVIDIA. NVIDIA clearly has some incredible freaking things, but what's gonna happen in your brain, in your mind, is you're gonna try AMD, and you're gonna see what AMD has to offer, and you're gonna sit back like I did, and you're gonna be like, wow, this is actually way better than everybody told me it was. That's gonna be the first thing that hits you right in the face. Boom, like, wow. What are those guys talking about? This is way better than anything anybody ever told me. The drivers are stable. The gameplay looks incredible. The features are actually usable. Like, boom, right there. You're like, oh my gosh, they were lying to me. And then you're going to be like, okay, but NVIDIA is still better. So how much better is it? And then this is what really hits you. And you're like, wow, it's really not much better. And in some ways, the AMD experience is way better because I get more VRAM, so I can play a bigger, like your experience stretches from just that narrow little thing with DLSS to, oh my gosh, dude, I can actually play this game at 4K, whereas on my 12 gig NVIDIA GPU, I couldn't do that, but I can now, and I get FSR, and FSR doesn't look horrible. It looks actually quite good in performance mode, or in DL, or in quality mode. It looks okay in balanced mode, and oh my gosh, it actually looks good. But ooh, that ghosting in performance mode. So you see where I'm going with this? It's like you're going to start seeing what I saw, and you're going to start being like, wait a minute, I've been being lied to for so long that the NVIDIA experience is so much better than the AMD experience, but it is damn near right on par. And when you factor in things like more VRAM versus less VRAM versus better ray tracing versus okay ray tracing versus, DLSS pristine upscaling versus, oh my gosh, it does the same thing and it looks pretty good, but I get a little bit of ghosting and a little bit of shimmer. You start to make this thing that's like, hey man, NVIDIA's better in some ways, but it's also worse in some ways, but it's also fucking on par most of the time. Parity with freaking AMD. So it's like, okay, man, like AMD's an option. And this is what happens is you're like, okay, AMD's an option. I still might prefer NVIDIA. I love NVIDIA. I like the extra new features that NVIDIA brings to the table for like 4 games every generation. But wow, dude, I'm actually having a really good time on AMD Radeon, that it's an incredible experience. And once your brain makes that differentiation of these two GPUs, then you can actually sit back and be like, okay, here's the thing. Like, I like NVIDIA, but AMD is awesome. And then you start to see that, like, hey, and that's where I'm at right now. It's like, okay, could AMD theoretically charge the same price as NVIDIA for the 9070 XT? Okay, yeah, but this time it's a little bit different. 5070 XT or 5070 Ti, 16 gigs of VRAM, 256-bit bus. 9070 XT, 256-bit bus, 16 gigs of VRAM. Now they're on par. Now they're on par that way. Ray tracing. You see where I'm going with this is like, okay, AMD, you better have something. Your FSR4 had better be very good if it's going to compete with DLSS 4, because DLSS 4 is damn near perfect. It really is. Like, I get on the games that have DLSS 4 and in performance mode, they look like they're native 4K. That's a fact. That is an absolute fact. Can FSR 4 perform on that level? Hopefully it's good enough, because I've seen FSR 3.1 look pretty good. So if it's just taking that and then like getting rid of all the ghosting and stuff, it might be able to compete. It might actually be able to compete. But then you have the ray tracing, you have the path tracing, stuff like that. It's going to have to be on par. Like, it can't be super far behind anymore in that department. Like, 9070 XT is going to have to be able to perform above what a 5070 Ti is going to perform and offer better experience to be able to get same money. And I don't know, man. If you listen to everybody else, they say it's got to be significantly better, but I don't know. I think it just needs to be better and easily out-handedly beat it to get the same money. I don't know. People, like I just explained in this video. So, all right, guys, if you like this content, do not forget to like and subscribe. I wish AMD the best of luck. Hopefully they can pull this off. I would like to see AMD do better market-wise, share-wise, mind share-wise, because I think NVIDIA is getting a bit out of control with these prices, but I know that AMD can't literally afford to give this stuff away for free. So, yeah, man, if NVIDIA's setting the prices at $650, $750, $550, yeah, I'm not opposed to AMD charging the same amount of money. I just want AMD to have that experience be good enough. I mean, I already think it's good enough. I already think they could do it. Just on what I've played alone with AMD's GPUs, I think they're good. But obviously this time they're not going to have that 4 extra gigs or that 6 extra gigs of VRAM to really set them over the freaking top when it comes to, when it comes to the for the worth. Okay, they're not going to have that. They're not going to have that advantage this time because they are only doing 16 gigs of VRAM. So, boy, this is going to be interesting, guys. So, all right, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you later.